I say now, welcome to 4th and 1. Well, I always got it done. Ask your mama, ask your daddy, that I always got it done. I say now, welcome to 4th and 1. Well, I always got it done. Auntie, uncle, grandma, granddad, all said, now welcome to 4th and 1. Well, I always got it done. Ask your sister and your brother that I always got it done. I say, now welcome.
Come on in.
Okay, all right.
Come on in.
Okay, sit tight.
Win your team.
All
Let's begin.
all right. I say now, welcome to 4th and 1. Well, I always got it done. Bring that facts by the time before the rising of the sun. But this ain't me in the shotgun.
Oh, Bird. Larry, kind of scary. Hey.
This is me in front of TV.
Yeah.
Looking around the room, I said, this we in front of TV. I look into my left, I say, big in front of TV. We in front of TV. We in front of TV having a whole lot of fun. Here we go, first down. Viral moment of the week. Let's see what we got.
Man, we got two great quarterbacks connecting.
Oh.
Cam connects with Chris. The Chris Leak.
Oh my goodness.
Listen. To me, Michael Vick, this Christopher Leak threw the beautifulest, the prettiest ball I ever seen in my life.
All right. Press pause right there, Peggy. That's a real time, like, feeling in the moment. There's another clip and there's another angle as he's approaching me, and it was just like,
yeah.
Hey, what? Chris Lee?
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Now, this had me kind of go back in my kind of bank of how did Cam become Cam? And certain times in life that I even, question this generation with not giving props or credit to not citing the source.
Yeah. You got to cite the source.
You see what I'm saying? Mm-hmm. Because for me, I meant it with all I believe in.
Yeah.
Without no Chris Leak, there's no Cam Newton. I mentioned Michael Vick. Without Michael Vick, there's no Cam Newton.
Yeah.
Bro, without Vince Young, there's no Cam Newton. And contrary to popular belief, without a Jamarcus Russell, there's no Cam Newton. See, I don't say a lot of NFL quarterbacks at that time because I was busy on Sundays. We was at church. I really didn't get to understand the game. It was college for me. Jamarcus Russell's college impact, you know what I'm saying, at LSU.
I get you.
Chris Leak's impact, Michael Vick's impact in college, Vince Young's impact. As I was curating what version of myself will matriculate into what the world seen as Cam Newton.
Yeah.
It was a combination of all those quarterbacks.
Yeah.
Chris Leak was the first person that I saw play the quarterback position that was black, that didn't platoon.
Yeah.
See, during that time, Peggy, you have to understand too, in 2005, 2006, 2007, it was a known thing to platoon quarterbacks.
Yeah. You in for these plays?
You got an athletic quarterback, you got to pass a quarterback.
Correct.
But Chris Leak, starting as a freshman, as a place that you know oh so well at Independence High School, started for Ron Zook and the University of Florida. Hence, one of the main reasons why I even considered the University of Florida. Because I saw myself in him. When I watched the Longhorns, I saw myself in Vince. When I saw LSU, I saw myself in Jamar. When I saw Virginia Tech, I saw myself in Michael Vick. So shout out to Chris Leak, man, for showing up to, this weekend's festivities that we had at Auburn. Thank you to the Auburn family for, showing out all the teams that came and participated. You know what I'm saying? Yeah. Such a good initiative for, the C1N representative and staff members. And it was just amazing, man. It was just something that reminds me of why I do what I do. It's just to impact the youth.
That's real. I got something on Chris too, man. Question, but one statement before I make this question, man. You said like Independence High School, man, that's when you understood what perfection was. Chris Leak playing for Coach Tom Knox. I remember going, and I went to Independence High School, and going, before you even start joking, going down to like the mall area. That's where you hang out before you go to class. You have all of these players, like their picture and their jersey hanging up in the mall area. And it was kind of like, you had the cannon, and then you seen like Chris Leak's photo. So Muhammad Massaquoi, what's my man? Hakeem Nicks, Joe Cox, all these people. But like not Steve, oh my goodness, but Chris Leak started the trend. And Independence won 100 games straight, but he started that undefeated trend in high school.
Kids don't know.
They don't know that, bro. He kicked it off.
They don't know.
Yeah.
Bro, but that's my issue with this generation. They just think football started when they just started looking at football.
Exactly. No.
It's like football was great way before you even thunk of it. Yes, I said thunk.
Yeah.
Before you thunk of it. And it's gonna be great way after you.
But I want to say something to that point, because even with this, it's like we hear about the Tim Tebow era, and I remember in our bedroom, me and my brother shared rooms. We had a newspaper front page of Chris Leak holding up the glass football, and
for the national
championship, the BCS national championship. But the thing is, it's like, man, when you talk about like where I'm from, people that came from, he was that. For me, my brother played football Independence. For the city, like our city of Charlotte, it was like, I want to be like Chris Leak.
Yeah.
But like even in that Florida era, I don't know. I feel he doesn't get his just due. We talk about the Tebow era. It's like, but who kicked it off?
Let's just be honest. There was an energy at Florida that was trying to push Chris
Leak out. Yeah, it's like, what?
You know what I'm saying? And it just almost. There was a cloud over him. He couldn't really shine
like he was
really supposed to shine because you had such a big personality and a persona of Tim Tebow.
And he was Mr. Florida coming in.
Yeah,
was
that's not a knock on Tebow, because I'd be doggone if I tell somebody to dim their light so somebody else can shine bright. Sure. That's not the case. What I am saying is Tim Tebow to Florida at that 06, 07 or the 07, 08 national championship, you can't get there without Chris Leak.
Oh yeah, no, you can't.
And there was moment, like Tebow had moments as a freshman that just kind of pushed him to, okay, he had the jump pass. Everybody knows.
Yeah.
He had certain packages that it would come in. But the person that was actually driving the car
was Christopher
Leak.
Come on.
Blue-eyed Chris Leak.
Oh, man.
And when I tell you, I may have made up a word, beautifuler, pretty. There's no words that can express from a true football fan the sheer appreciation of the spiral that he was through. Peggy. It was jug machine-like without the jug machine impact. It was like the ball was just waiting on you to catch it. It caught itself.
Yeah.
You know, some quarterbacks, they say, man, golly, he threw a hard ball.
Yeah.
Well, Chris, it was just like, bro, he's placing the ball. He's almost like holding it out and just grab it. It's going to catch itself. Yeah. And here I am at the C1N Auburn event, and I'm still looking at him throw. I'm like, bro, look at this boy throw the football, bro.
He was throwing it out there.
He just got to know ball to appreciate that. And still, and he had a 12 and under team that lost in the championship, but nevertheless, he's still giving back, you know, to his community and impacting lives. And I asked him, I was like, yo, bro, like, you don't want to be a coach? And what he said was so remarkable that I can relate to is like, bro, when I was a GA, because he did go back and was a GA at the University of Florida, the amount of time that I was dedicating towards coaching and not my family, it just wasn't it. So, you know, he's based in Orlando now, bro. You know, got quarterback development and football development. Like, bro, like my hat always goes off, not just to him, but the real MVP in that Leak household is his older brother, CJ.
CJ Lee,
who was very instrumental, for my development, a person who I could always call on and get advice from. But it was just such a wholesome moment for me that I wasn't expecting that.
Yeah.
And when you see your heroes, especially in this day and age, it's okay to admit, like, yo, bro, golly, dog. And I just want him to understand, like, how much he meant to the overall creation of Cam. So, yeah. Hey, fellas, let's talk about it. The pressure to perform. Holidays, anniversaries, and those big moments. As a man, do you ever feel like you got to be on every time?
And it's not just pressure on you. Your partner feels the difference too. When you really show up and cater to them, it builds connection, confidence, and all of that.
But let's be real. Sometimes, fellas, it's just not that simple. That's why you need some options.
Road connects guys with medical providers 100% online, so you can have that conversation privately.
And if you are approved, treatment ships directly to your door, no hassle.
If prescribed, new sexual health patients gets $15 off their first order of Sparks on a reoccurring plan.
Just go to ro.co/4th. That's ro.co/4th to find out if Ro Sparks is right for you.
Sparks is a compounded drug product. It's permitted under federal law, but if it's not FDA approved and doesn't go through FDA safety of effectiveness review.
For full safety info, go to ro.co/safety info.
Handle your business with confidence.
You already know. But one person that I know, it's a love-hate, more heavy on that hate.
Yeah, all right. Better congratulate.
Relationship. None other than Peggy!
What's good, bud? Yeah. Come on now. Woo!
How was your weekend, Peggy?
Man, my weekend was marvelous. All right, one of the best weekends I done had ever.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, man, your
Why
boy,
you say so, Peggy?
But your boy done stepped up out of the game. My wedding was this weekend, man. I got married, shout out to...
For the love of Peg!
It's over with. It's one and done.
Shout out to Shekinah!
Shekinah, baby,
For
I
being
love you,
so
baby.
patient
I love you, baby.
with this individual.
Yeah.
He got his legs crossed, Shekinah, so he don't really mean that. You know
Yeah,
what I'm saying?
please.
Fingers
please.
crossed, eyes crossed.
Hands open, baby.
You
I
did.
got you. But nah, man, it was amazing to make that vow with my wife. And it was just an amazing weekend, man. Family was there. And we consider everybody their family. And so it was just real intimate. We had a great weekend. Bug came out,
Man, I was late.
He was late
And
to
by
my
the
wedding.
time I got there, it was perfect timing because they was wrapping it up.
Yeah. You gonna be late now. That's what I said. Hey. But no.
I think what the coolest thing of experiencing it is I've always respected your independence.
Mm-hmm.
And to have such a intimate love experience was something that I was like, okay, like this pretty cool.
Yeah.
To see her side of the family and, for you guys to be happy.
For sure.
Internally, not going over the top with this and that, because it's like, yeah. But yeah, man, I'm happy for you.
Man,
bro.
thank you, brother. Man, I appreciate you for being there, man. The words you shared, you know what I mean? And, spending time with my family, which, we all are family, meant a lot to me and my wife. So, man, thank you. Thank you to everybody that came and all the people that didn't come because it was so intimate. Thank you just for, wishing us well wishes on our marriage. And so, yeah, man, it was...
Peggy out the market, y'all.
He off the market,
Huh?
man. Yeah. Market done went up.
Duh.
You know what I'm saying? Find a wife, find a good thing, man. So, that's me, brother. We spent some of our weekend together. But after that day, how was...
Oh, Peggy! Mine was marvelous.
Uh-huh.
Now, I had one quarrel about this weekend, Peggy.
What was the quarrel?
Now, I was a part of some love and air experience.
Yeah.
Went to a wedding or two, your wedding at that. The only quarrel that I had was me being vegetarian
Yeah.
But them eggs from that crawfish bowl.
Oh yeah. We threw a crawfish bowl afterwards.
I only was eating the eggs, the corn, and the potatoes.
Yeah.
And then we had some good broccoli and
Some
rice.
pasta and stuff. Yeah.
But boy, coming back from that, me and Jazz was bouncing forward,
For real.
back and forth. I'm talking about going down to
Not hot box in the
She
car.
said, okay, I said, She said, And boy, that smell. Ooh,
my goodness.
Woo.
Not the eggs.
But them eggs had us going, boy.
Bonkers.
But it was good.
That was good while I
And
left.
before they touched the crawfish, you know what I'm saying? They was seasoned in the Old Bay, whatever that was. I don't know what it was.
Auntie, man, she do her thing. with the
It
seafood
definitely
boil.
was good, but it didn't come out too presentable.
Yeah.
Other than that, Sunday, man, like I said, we traveled to Auburn, was amongst the peoples, had an opportunity to talk to Coach Golish and new head coach of Auburn, and just get on the same page.
That was good.
Yeah, bro. Like it was something that, you know, glad that I got to talk to Coach AG and share my sentiments of me being a resource.
Yeah.
And I'll just be honest with you. Like, I just want something to root for. Like, man, I ain't been able to wear my colors proud
Well, I'm proud, brother.
for a minute.
Come on now.
And I'm like, this is what was so surprising. And that's why I said, for Auburn to have top 15 to top 10 spin, roster spin, and to get nothing is something that's so deflating as a fan. As we look at Auburn, it's like, bro, you've always attached Auburn with hard nose. Hard nose, and all. It's in our creed. Work, hard work. And sometimes when watching the games, it's just like, man, what are we doing?
Yeah.
From the scheme to the belief to it's like, dog, we got rosters. Huh? We done had the Bo Nix. Bo Nix at Auburn. Yeah. Bo Nix go to dog on Oregon. Top 10, first round pick.
Dang.
Heisman finalist. I'm like, man, hold on. Like you got talent.
He's
You
taking
done
his
had
team to the playoffs in the NFL.
But he has my 100% support.
Yeah.
Him and his coaching staff and the roster that he's assembling, I believe in. I ain't got no choice but to believe in it.
Yeah, man, we got to show up, bro.
What damn? I plan on showing up.
Come on.
I'm gonna do my part. Huh?
Come on.
But
Come
it
on.
comes down to the rubber meeting the road. Coach,
That's it.
players, staff. All right, y'all gonna do y'all job.
Yeah.
And you only can do your job by the production of doing your job.
Good job.
You see what I'm saying?
What's up?
All right, here we go. Next clip.
As we talk about production and doing a job, Bam Adebayo does it well with 83 points, but it is a lot of criticism on how he got to his 83.
I get it, bro. 83 is 83, and Bam is a good dude, but that was disgusting, son. That was nasty, egregious work that was put on display that I damn near can never watch the NBA the same way. Where I'm like, okay. You know, it's one thing you going for a scoring record, but you up 40 and you fouling the other team so you can go and extend the time and then get the ball back, go jack, or try to force some shit offensively so you get the foul and go to the free throw line. 20 for 43, 7 for 22 from 3, 43 fucking free throws. It's like, bro, when you hit 81,
Next clip, Peggy.
So Cam, with everybody taking shots, Bam Adebayo decided to fire back on his own.
Ouch, coaches, I mean, if you're in my shoes and you have, first of all, y'all are blaming me. You should be blaming the head coach. Get that first. I was not the one letting me go one-on-one the whole game until I had 70, then you started to send a double. At that point, I got 70 with 9 minutes left to go in the game. You think I'm not going for it? And that's the thing that's crazy when they talk about the unethical part.
Press pause right there, Peggy. So let's do a quick breakdown And why people are taking it so personal that Bam got 83. And I must have a confession.
What's up?
When you first hear Bam Adebayo scoring 83, beating the late, great, all-time special player in Kobe Bean Bryant, it's like, no.
Nah, that ain't.
How he do that? He cheated. Huh?
He cherry picked.
It can't be what we expect it to be.
Yeah.
But let's now check ourselves and say, this is such an elite feat because at the tickety top of the basketball world, everybody tries to get where? To the NBA.
Yeah. To the NBA is the best creme de la creme.
G League, B League, Peggy League.
Please, that's bigger than NBA, baby.
Huh?
The Boogie League,
Harlem
the Boo Bowl,
Trotters, overseas. It don't matter. Everybody wants to get to the
NBA. And one.
Plus one.
Okay, get it done.
Everybody trying to get to the league.
Yeah.
So let's put that into perspective. 83 points. I don't care how many free throws you made or shot.
Yeah. You still made
83.
And you still made
I think there's oftentimes what people are guilty of and what I was guilty of as analyzing this statistic was you want to protect your nostalgic hero. It's like, man, you just had to be there, bro. But hear this though, because we do that with one specific individual.
Oh.
Michael Jordan. That nostalgia of, you ain't never seen Michael Jordan play, but you're rocking his shoes. But that still doesn't declare, because a lot of the Gen Z or some of the millennials only know the greatness of Michael Jordan because of how the uncles and the daddies and the granddaddies and the mothers and the aunties will talk about the greatness.
Yeah.
It's like, man, what?
That's Air Jordan right
Mike
there.
did what? He never lost in the finals. Dang, that's special. But when you protect that, and it's like looking at a movie that you're like, man, y'all looking at cartoons now, but y'all wasn't on doggone Hey Arnold.
Yeah,
y'all wasn't on Recess.
Yeah.
This a different SpongeBob.
The facts.
I seen the premiere of SpongeBob.
SpongeBob, that's a fact.
Y'all wasn't watching Rugrats.
Nah, not the Rugrats.
Y'all watching doggone y'all watching anime. But I was with the dragon, fight the dragon balls.
Z.
Man, y'all don't know nothing about no Power Rangers.
Yeah, man,
y'all
what?
don't know nothing about the doggone Teenage Mutant Ninja Turtles.
That's
y'all don't know. Y'all don't remember. Dun, 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 dun. But when you heard that as a Power Ranger, Peggy, and that doggone white Power Ranger came from the doggone little pond, I said,
the Power Ranger.
Stop moving.
Yeah.
But a dude would play the flute, Peggy.
How you know? How he pop up?
He'll come out that water. You know what I mean? Whenever I come out that water, it was like, boy, it's about to be some trouble. The
Mighty Morphin Power Ranger.
A chance in doggone hell with this one. Or doggone what's it? Fight the planet.
Captain Planet. Yeah, Captain Planet, boy.
They don't know nothing about they like Peggy favorite show, the Teletubbies.
Man, please.
They don't know nothing about them Teletubbies. Now all of a sudden they got all these YouTube.
Watch Caillou, Little Bill over there.
Yeah, all right, Little Bill. That's cool.
Caillou special over there.
Yeah, Caillou, all that Curious George over here. With your mouth.
You over here bearing the big blue house,
That's cool. You was with Barney and Kid.
Yeah, that's cool.
Sesame Street.
Yeah, I am Sesame Street.
The Cookie Monster.
Yeah. You looking like Mr. Grouch. Go ahead, man.
You don't know nothing about them. These kids nowadays, they got the luxury to have on-demand content.
Yeah, they are. Ain't no YouTube back then.
That's that same way they do for sports. It's like, man, Kobe to me was a god.
And if you missed the game, you missed it.
Missed it.
You had to listen to it.
If you missed a cartoon, you missed it on Saturday
You
morning.
better get up with your cereal and be on
how
time.
many people had stank breath, crust in their eyeballs, had a doggone pissy stain in their jaw, doo-doo streaks.
Hershey stains.
Man,
just naked.
Watch out, man.
Hold on, watch out. Turn it up.
Move, I can't see.
My Fruit Loops getting soggy.
What? And you better not eat all of it.
Facts.
They don't understand.
They don't understand that.
See, the same way is how we treat sports.
Yeah.
And when they saw one of their hero statistics, I was guilty of saying, no, that 83 ain't the same.
Same
as
80,
81.
yeah.
But I'm here to tell you, Bam Adebayo, I apologize. Because 83 points in any capacity, especially at the peak league, is something special. Let's compare the stats.
So, Bam's 83, he went 20 of 43. Kobe's 81, he went 28 of 46. 3-point percentage, Bam was 7 of 22. Kobe was 7 of 13. All right. Free throw percentage, Bam was 36 of 43. And Kobe was 18 of 20.
Pause that right there, Peggy, because now the last point that I'm going to make is Kobe needed to score to 81.
Yeah, they was trying to catch up to win.
You see what I'm saying?
And they did win against
Bam was already ahead. It was almost like the slaughter rule.
Yeah.
But no matter how you compare, it's still 83.
I don't get that aspect. It's like if I shot the ball and then make it in the basket, we still in regulation.
Finish the saying, Peggy. And we know you ain't that good at basketball.
Shit.
Huh? Shooters?
Shoot.
Don't matter what it is.
Score.
You know what I'm saying?
Winners win. Ballers ball.
And Peggy's Peg.
Yeah, feel me. Peggy Palace, baby. Player. What you mean?
So, as we bring it closer to that, it's just that. It's like, yo, Bam, bro, that's elite.
Yeah, they were in regulation. They getting paid to stop you.
And who would have
getting paid to
ever
win.
thought, even utterly just had a mental of understanding that this is a stat line that may not ever.
Yeah, be seen again. Or at least for a couple of years. And even with the NBA, you have a lot of great scorers. When I seen Bam across the ticker tape, 83, or like breaking news, I'm like, I would think a James Harden, maybe even LeBron in his prime.
Durant.
Kevin Durant. You thinking about those type
Booker.
of people, Booker, SGA, all of those people, you would think, Anthony Edwards, you would think those people that's getting hot. But Bam has a dope game, not to get me wrong, but he's not the most elite scorer. That's not what he's asked to do.
Think about
Bam Adebayo
putting up them type of
numbers.
But let's get over it.
Yeah, he did
Because
it.
the real thing, and he had a bar that said, don't get mad at me, get mad at the coach. It's almost like, to Hassan's point, preparing for the show, I'm about to win the touchdown record. And all of a sudden, all game, y'all been playing the same coverage. Now all of a sudden, I'm getting close to breaking the record. Now y'all want to play man. Y'all want to blitz.
Yeah, facts.
It's too late then.
And you know the ball going to him.
Hello?
So why you can't stop him?
Why would I come out? No, coach, I'm good.
I'm hot, literally.
Cam, I got you. Bull crap. About face.
Turn around.
They try to tell me, hey, my girl here too? Boy, please.
Hey, I'm about to go crazy.
Boy, you know that.
But listen, when your girl in the crowd doing stuff you ain't never done.
But when my girl in the doggone stand, boy, I'm about to go bam on you.
I'm going Ray Charles. I ain't passing the ball to nothing.
Ain't near one of y'all. Get out. Hey, set the pick, bro. Don't worry about it.
Watch out. ISO.
Wide and out.
Get it.
Here we go. Second down. Questionable call of the week. Let's see what we have.
Duncan Robinson, did you leave your teammate hanging? In a brawl, my boy was out like a scout on a paper route.
That was one of the things that bothered me the most about the Charlotte incident is that it looked, and I could see how there could be a narrative outwardly of like, oh, I like left my guy hanging, or I didn't care about Stu or whatever. Like, and that was actually the only aspect of it that like, I wanted to make sure Stu and I were cool. Not like publicly, but like, and I do think Stu and my teammates know that I like ride for them.
Press pause, Peggy.
No.
What you got on your head, Peggy?
A cap.
What Jimbo got on his head, Peggy?
A cap.
What about Hassan, Peggy?
A cap.
Oh, what about VJ?
A cap. What about you, bud?
Nah, this is a fedora. Stay with me now.
Yeah, okay.
Hey, finish the sentence, Peggy. Liar, liar, pants on
fire.
Why do I say that about this young fellow?
No Duncan, no Hines.
Actions speak louder
Okay.
than words.
Mm-hmm.
Because let that have been his brother. Let that have been his mama. Let that have been his sister.
Yeah.
Let that have been his lady.
Yeah.
Let that have been somebody that he ride for.
He cared about.
He gonna say, "Oh, well, y'all know I ain't really like that."
Yeah, he had it under control.
You know what I'm saying?
He didn't even grab nobody else.
He said, "No, y'all good.
Yeah,
I'm good.
I'm straight. I'm with all that.
Or the people that I rock with, y'all good, man. Actions speak louder than words, Peggy. See, all that right there, and it's all facetious. It's all in funny games.
Yeah.
But let that have been somebody that he rocking with,
Bruh.
knowing how to fight or not, or we going to war.
At least if you ain't swinging, you pulling people off, trying to mediate, referee it.
Because, Peggy, I don't know if you ever been in an old good down old
I've
squabble.
been into the old squabble.
And every time there comes a time in every single person's life, male, female, woman, man, child, adult, it don't matter.
Come on now.
Your card gonna get
pulled. Okay.
Your cord gonna get pulled.
Mm-hmm.
And sooner or later, all that tongue wrestling gonna turn into arm wrestling.
Okay.
Huh?
Uh-huh.
And you gonna get the tussling.
Exactly.
And the last thing you wanna ever hear Ernie. Peggy, where were you?
Man. That's the last thing, boy.
Hold on, bruh.
Hey.
Elbow, man. Peggy, why you so clean?
I know.
Why your sword don't got no blood on it? Why your shield don't got no scratches?
Why your machine ain't up your head?
Man, listen, it come with superpower. Peggy, why your shoes ain't dirty? Everybody around here got mud all in their doggone kneecaps and stuff.
And you just walking out there.
Getting after it. Where your blood at?
Bro.
Man, y'all was straight.
Nah, we couldn't even come back home if that was that.
Yeah.
If somebody was scrapping, you bet not be the one.
So my boy, let that have been your partner, your real partner, your real day one, your real one that you said, because sooner or later, right or wrong, if that's your partner,
Bruh.
I'm with you whether you're right or wrong.
And we'll figure it out later.
Like, man, golly, man, Peggy.
Boy, you always starting something.
Worry about you're wrong.
But we gonna get in there.
But we're gonna get us up out of here.
Yeah.
May come with a black eye and a chin check and a busted lip.
But we
That's
gonna
what
battle it.
That's what comes with this, Peggy.
In fact.
Stick your chin out.
Come on, Cam. Bobby Weed, brother. Hit that, brother.
Hey, man, like I tell everybody, you start with me, it's gonna take a couple of folks to get me up off you, bro.
Tell him.
We're going
We're going through there.
I tell you, up through there. Next clip.
For the love of the coaching game, Greg Olson tells his why and what he gets from coaching.
If you put a gun to my head tomorrow and said you can only do one thing with your life, I love broadcasting games. I love calling games. I love the action of the NFL. It's what I've known. It's my life. I'll never stop being involved coaching the kids stuff because
what makes it so fulfilling?
We're getting these 12 to 14-year-old boys that come in. And football is a unique sport because for a lot of kids that try out for the basketball team in high school or in middle school, they've played basketball before. They might not have played on the greatest team in Charlotte, but they've played in a rec league. They've played somewhere.
First off, I want to give a major appreciation, not just to Greg Olson, but coaches alike.
Mm-hmm.
And oftentimes, parents, players, and even some other coaches have to understand and take a step back and realize coaches, volunteers, and certain other aspects are not being compensated to do this.
Yeah.
But they're impacting your son, your daughter in a positive way. So, hey, coach, boo! You're doing terrible. But they giving what they know.
Mm-hmm.
See, when I think about, or when I hear Greg Olson talk about it, I see him, Jonathan Stewart, Luke Kuechly, very involved, in youth sports. And the thing about it is, I don't think it's the compensation. The compensation or the restitution that I believe to be true is that you're making real impact.
Mm-hmm.
And we got the luxury of having, a former C1N alum and Jaden Davis here watching us.
Yeah.
So whether it's Jaden, whether it's Travis Hunt, whether it's Bo Nix,
George Pickens,
whether it was or some individuals that you may not even heard of.
Yeah.
they got the same coach Cam.
Yeah.
And some of the things that I was telling them then may not have registered, but they can always say, boy, Cam always kept it above.
Yeah.
Because the truth of the matter is, what I teach or my principles, yeah, we use it through football or sport, but sport has so many relatability and crossover to the game of life.
Man, Cam, I wanted to ask you too, and a lot of players, a lot of celebrities or whatever, they do stuff when they're playing the game. Mm-hmm. I'm playing football, so I'm going to give back. I'm going to do all my give back. I'm a coach. And it's like, when I'm not playing no more, well, I don't do that no more. Like, what keeps you, even though you're not playing the game of football anymore, what keeps you going back out there on the field to coach? Like, what is that? Why? It's like, you're not getting paid for it. You actually are paying to coach. Yeah. Like, what does?
It ain't, like, it don't make monetary sense.
Yeah.
It's something where it's like, I see so much of myself in the kids. Mm-hmm. And, you know, not to tell everything, but a couple of weeks ago, when you called me, Jaden? 2 weeks. 2 weeks ago, Jaden called me. Hey, brother, I'm coming up to Atlanta, man. I wanna kick it with you. And the thing that I always been able to pride myself with giving game to kids is, it's not that I know right from wrong. I experienced what you experienced. Mm-hmm. Found myself on a phone call with Jaden, and the thing that I remember most about that conversation was his transition to the school that he's at right now makes so much comparable sense to when I was in JUCO. Mm-hmm. You go from, and I told him it's harder because you go from Michigan. Well, my similarity was I went to Florida. Now, humbling yourself to accept the school that you're at now. And when I went to JUCO, it was harder for me because I knew what the problem. I touched the top. Mm-hmm. I tasted, I smelt it, I seen it.
Y'all literally both touched the top.
I experienced it. And that's what makes C1N different. It's not to say wins and losses or we win over here. That's hogwash incomparable to the real impact to these kids' lives that you have. We transition young men into actual men because of the dedication and the time, energy, and effort behind everything that we do. Yeah, I could teach a T-step or a coverage or, a drop or, catching fundamental. Like, yeah, I could do that. But being able to say, hey, bro, you got a 15-yard dig. Run it at 15, not 14 and a half, not 16 and a quarter, 15 yards. Why does this make important sense in life? It's because when you start having kids, the small details, it's gonna matter because they don't care that you had a bad day. They don't care that you got fired. They don't care that your boss done gave you or somebody done kicked your cat. They don't care. You just gotta produce. I don't care if you're getting held. I don't care if your eye hurt. I don't care. I know what the 90,000 or 100,000 gonna be expecting from you when you play at the big house, when you play at Doak Campbell Stadium, when you play at Ben Hill Griffin Stadium, when you play in front of millions and millions of fans. Some of it is unrealistic. I know what it's like to get booed. I know what it's like to be praised. I know all that. And that's what I'm going to bestow with you. Yeah. So it's not to say I'm not going to give you all the answers, because I will. But you still got to go through it.
Yeah.
And that's what makes the Greg Olson experience, the Jonathan Stewart experience, or any coach or the Cam Newton or anybody that takes the time. A guy that I had the opportunity to play with that I think is doing an amazing job with his platform and giving back with his time. Torrey Smith.
Oh, yeah.
Level 82.
Yeah.
And granted, I always tease with him. It's like, bro, I remember when y'all team was like, cheeks.
Yeah. They some fire.
Nah, it's like, hold on.
82, they leveling up.
Come on. Hey, these folks ain't the same team.
Yeah, that ain't it.
They went from doggone homecoming games to coming home.
Yeah.
It's like, but it doesn't click. Mm-hmm. He understands that. So for any coach with the resume that I may have, or may have a resume to say like, yo, bro, I played football at this level, basketball at this level, baseball at this level, or whatever sport. If you're taking time out, that's your ministry. That's how you convert kids. And they always see me as this polarizing figure of, man, that's Cam. And I see the transition where it's like, bro, I play on Cam Newton team. To now it goes into a different phase where it's just like, oh man, that's just Cam. Oh, that's just coach. And now it goes into a different phase of mentorship of, man, that's big bro. Sometimes I've realized that me giving back to these kids, they may not have father figures. So when I do have my children and my family and they see a family dynamic, that's their only glimpse of family.
Yeah.
So yeah, it's bigger than that. It's like some people don't understand. I remember saying it a couple years ago. There's not another player that gives back more than me. I lost millions of dollars. And every single time I do my taxes, every single time I give plans of things that I want to do, it does not make business sense, but it makes impact sense. And that's more important to me. I ain't got $1. I've been trying to work with countless brands and countless people that say, man, help me, help these kids. But it still falls on, hey, you got your foundation? Can we write it off? So it's like, man, I'll spend the 20K. I'll spend the 30. Man, because when you see the faces of the kids,
yeah,
and they just came off a win or they down, or it's like, man, let's go get something to eat, dog. Let's just, you know what I'm saying, rub it off and come back tomorrow. I can lose like that. But it far exceeds wins and losses. It's all about impact to what are you doing to the next generation and impacting them in a positive way.
Yeah.
So if you're doing that and that's where your heart is as a coach, woman or man, I salute you. Here we go, third down, fan question of the week. Let's see what we got.
Michael McDonald, what he meant to say is Jalen Waddle, a number 1 wide receiver. So just to give you the breakdown on Waddle, the Broncos just traded for Waddle. So they received Waddle and a 4th-round pick. The Denver Broncos traded away their 1st-round pick, their 3rd and 4th-round pick as well for Jalen Waddle. So the question is, with all this that the Broncos dealt away to receive this receiver, is he a number 1? Still got Cortland Sutton on the other side, though.
You know what? I'm going to make a bold revelation.
Talk to me.
I don't think that a true number 1 exists anymore. Name me a team that just has one guy.
And they have another premium person on the other side that's just...
But
yeah,
every great receiver
has a
counterpart that's also... When you think about Devontae Adams,
Puka Nacua. And that's like, I don't know
you think
who
about Jackson Smith and Jigba. He ain't got no bums around him now.
No.
Everybody ball. They just take turns. When you think about Jamar Chase, like
George
the
Pickens,
formula now.
CeeDee Lamb. Yeah.
You see what I'm saying? See, the league turns over every 3 to 5 years. Like we came up with the hot take.
Mm-hmm.
There's no such thing as busts anymore.
Yeah.
You got teams that now are preparing players for other teams.
Yeah, bust or bounce, yeah.
Because the inability to develop their quarterback or having the time to properly develop. Now, with the receiver position, it's almost like the same thing. I don't think Jalen Waddle is a number 1, or I don't think, no, hold on. I misstated.
Yeah.
Do I think he has number 1 skill? Yes.
Okay.
Can he be a number 1? Yes. But I don't think that's what he needs. Cortland Sutton and Jalen Waddle, that tandem right there,
that's cold,
will give defenses fits and will be the greatest thing for the development of Bo Nix.
for sure.
You got a guy in Jalen Waddle that has shown that he has big play potential.
Yeah. And I think you might see just as much. I mean, because he had Tyreek Hill in Miami.
Correct.
And now he got Cortland Sutton. The biggest thing, he knows how to play with another dominant receiver. That's an understatement that people really don't think about. Because it's like when you just the guy and you know you finally measure somebody else as I'm a guy too, that really is a clash. And the fact that he knows how to play with somebody else that's the guy, I think it would be a great marriage.
Beyond anything, it's like the game has always When you had the Michael Irvins, he had a dominant force next to him. When you had the Randy Moss, he had a dominant force next to him. When you have all these great receivers, the Terrell Owens, like they had great receivers that was next to him. And it wasn't to say that he was number one, that person was number two, he was number one. The opportunity presented itself to say like, okay, well, he's the featured receiver. And that's a synonym for number one. But nowadays, the game has shifted that you can't put all your eggs in the basket of one receiver. You got to move that receiver around. You got to be able to have some type of functionality and variety of how your plan of attack will be. And what better way to do it with having another capable force to do that. So yes, I do think Jalen Waddle is a number one receiver, but more importantly, I think he fits what Sean Payton can do in Denver. Here we go, next clip.
Javon Harvey says, when you was at JUCO, or when you were in JUCO, how did you recover after workouts and practice?
Bro, I did not know what recovery was.
Like, JUCO.
Bro, during that time.
But you left from Florida and then going to.
Yeah, but I was an immature player too. So me knowing how to recover, let alone know how to watch film.
You like go to sleep.
Yeah, bro. Like it wasn't something that I was just prioritizing. And I was young enough to be able to bounce back. I remember being sore after games, but it wasn't that I was jumping into the cold tub or doing a contrast or, doing this or doing that, going to like, hey, bro, it's just time. Just give me time. A couple of days off. All right, boom, I feel better.
When the first time that you realized like you learned how to recover?
In the league.
Okay.
And it was just like, bro, I'm too hurt. Like from foot, ankle, shoulder, and even in the league, it wasn't that we practiced hard. You just played hard.
Yeah.
And you start to say to yourself like, yo, how can I get my body jump started to the peak version of itself that it need to be come game time or really come practice time too.
Yeah.
And I didn't understand that until I had veterans in front of me that will spend time and money with efforts to become the best version of themselves.
That's a fact.
So as I got into the league, not junior college, I would come up with stretch routines. I would come up with workout routines that best suited me. Because Peggy's workout plan and Boogie's workout plan, two different workout plans.
It's hard body over here, you feel me?
You got a RAV4 and Peggy, and you got a Rolls Royce.
And Peggy.
Nah.
And Peggy.
Nah.
You know what I'm saying?
No.
You got that Kia Sorrento and Boogie. You got that S-Class Maybach. With your boy Pig. Come on, baby.
Yeah, heavy on a special.
Now, please.
Heavy on a special.
Yeah, go on with it, man.
Boy, oh boy, I seen your mama this weekend. Boy, respectfully.
Yeah.
Boy, Peggy's always been a special child.
Man, please.
Special.
Yeah, she is. I shine like a diamond, baby. Shine like a diamond.
I would always walk around with a handkerchief for all the drool that he was.
Man, please.
Here we go. Fourth down. Newton's Law. Peggy. What do we have here?
Man, we definitely have a treat for you today, man. American sports journalist, a podcaster, commentator, known for his outspoken and often controversial views. Host of Fearless with Jason Whitlock. None other than the man, the myth, the legend. Welcome to 4th and 1, Mr. Jason Whitlock. Thank you for coming on.
Yes, Lord. Yes, Lord.
Thank you for having me.
Like we said off camera, it's been a long. Oh my goodness. Listen, I don't even know where to start, but I'm gonna start here. And I want to ask and go direct to the source with you, Jace. Why do so many people hate you?
I don't think they hate me. I think they hate what I stand for. I think many people don't know me. And so when I hear people that don't know me and they have these hyper emotional takes on me, it's because they don't really know me and they've just bought whatever the social media hype is on me.
Now, before we get too far into this particular banter amongst specific individuals, I want to clear the air and let you know I've always had respect. It wasn't threats. It was merely wanting this to happen, right? I think for as long as I could remember, I've been a person that's been misunderstood, a person that has been a person that, you know, beats to his own drum. But just like a lot of isms, people don't ask the question, but why? And you're kind of similar. A person hears what you have to say about this said topic or this said subject, this particular athlete, this particular politician, this particular actor. And it's just like, okay, well, there's truth there, but there's a strong take there as well, too. So to make this happen, I appreciate you for coming on the platform of 4th and 1 and just being able to talk it out. And in this world, I don't have no intent to hurt, harm, or diminish. It's just to get on the same page or ask the same questions. Like, but why though? You know what I'm saying? Like when you say the misconceptions or people don't really want to hear, has there ever been a time from a said source that it has gotten to you where you may feel like that person took it too far?
That person took it too far as it relates to saying something about me? Yeah, I mean, I don't know if the answer I'm going to give you may be insufficient or it may go in a different direction. But yeah, I've had, you know, long pieces written about me that have completely mischaracterized me, my work, everything about me. I've had, you know, there used to be a powerful website called Deadspin that got in the habit of writing long pieces about me intended to slander me, diminish me, and they did it with lies. And so, yeah, I think that there was a time when Deadspin went way too far with me and had a systematic, calculated, paid for an attack on me. And so, yeah, that would be one instance where I would think people have gone too far. But as it relates to, you know, the podcast or the social media space where, you know, people, the Uncle Tom or House Negro or any of that's all water off my back because I know exactly who I am. And, you know, those types of insults and slurs are said by people without much substance.
So, Jason, you know, I really want to just get to the point, too. You know, you said things, Cam have said things, and I really want, when we talk about misconceptions, what is your conceptions of Cam and some of the statements that you made in the media about how he portrays himself and goes about things in the media? But what's your thoughts, or what do you think that you know of about Cam and vice versa?
What I think about Cam is that let's long-winded answer here, just to warn you, but take Cam in his college career at Auburn. At that time, when Cam was at Auburn and having that remarkable season, carried that team to a national championship, if you go do the research, I was Cam's biggest defender. There was a guy named Thayer Evans at Fox Sports at the time that was constantly attacking Cam Newton, I felt, in an unfair way. And I was at Fox Sports at that time. And in the writing space, I had the power, the leverage, and I went to war with Thayer Evans, got crossways with my bosses because I kept telling them, like, hey, man, what is this guy doing? Cam Newton is out here balling out of control. I don't care that Cam and maybe his father sought some sort of payment from Auburn or whatever school he's playing for. That's all irrelevant. They've created a corrupt system. And if Cam and his father are trying to manipulate that system to their financial gain, I don't care. And so went from huge Cam defender at Auburn risk my relationship with superiors because I was like, hey, this isn't right. And then Cam, early in his career in the NFL, John Elway is my favorite player of all time. Any player that reminds me of John Elway, I hop on the bandwagon immediately. That goes from Cam Newton to Colin Kaepernick. Early in his career, I'm a huge Cam Newton supporter in the NFL. He reminds me of John Elway. I think this guy has a chance to go on to be, because I consider John Elway the greatest quarterback to ever play the game. I'm like, Cam could surpass him. Cam then, in my view, made a pivot to where he wanted to be a bit more of a cultural icon. And I thought it was a mistake. I think that when you're a franchise quarterback, there's a clean-cut way that the organization wants you to present yourself. I think that young men, particularly young black men, have spent way too much time worrying about their hairstyle, their fashion statements, any of that. I think it's all a mistake. I think it's all a waste of energy. I think that it's an indication they've taken their eye off the ball as it relates to their career, and now they're worried about other things. And so I started becoming critical of Cam. I'm like, hey, man, all this dressing up with the hairstyle, with the bonnet, with all this, like, man, you got to lead a football locker room. I don't think you can do it presenting yourself in that way. And so I became critical of Cam because I thought he's doing things to mess up what I think could be an all-time great NFL career. I look at Cam now in the media space. I see immense talent. I see a team around him that's putting him in position to shine. If he tones it down more and allows people to focus on what's actually coming out of his mouth rather than how he presents himself, I think he could have even more impact in the media space. But I've been very, celebratory of a lot of Cam's content and a lot of what you guys do around him and how you present Cam. But I just think, for the most part, I think Cam's doing too much. And if he does a little less, he will actually do more. Less is actually more. And I just see a lot of young black men that we're way too concerned with fashion because we come from a matriarchal culture. Anytime this many women are leading this many households and we got this worship of women deal, our culture is too feminized. And I would prefer for Cam to stand in opposition to that. I think all black men need to stand in opposition to that. And so, overall, I would say I see Cam as this great potential talent as a media force, but I see Cam doing things that are undermining his ability to impact the media the way that he could.
So let me ask you this, Jason, and I just want to better understand, and in no way, shape, form is my intent to attack. I think we can learn from each other given this said conversation. Can you give me the timeline from what you can remember when that shift, when you said Cam goes from focusing on football, whether it was at Auburn, whether it was sometime in the NFL, to the latter part, to now to shifting his focus to a cultural icon? Could you really give me a said time, if you were to know, just to back that merit? And it's going to get me to a point here.
To the best of my ability, the first clue, which I ignored, was I think Peter King at the Combine, Peter King, the NFL writer, got in some controversy for making a big deal about you saying you wanted to be a cultural icon or something along those lines. I ignored that. And I think the first 3, 4, 5 years you're in the NFL, my memory, and I'm going off memory, very clean cut Cam Newton. I think some people say, and I think I researched this at one point, 2, 3, 4 years ago, but when Jerry Richardson either passed away or got removed, that he was kind of your mentor with the Carolina Panthers. Once that went away, I think that's when the hairstyle and the hats and the dressing up went to the next level. And I remember being on the show Speak for Yourself with Marcellus and who was it? I can't remember. Oh, no, it was Colin Kaepernick that Michael Vick made the comment about, man, he just need to cut his damn hair. But anyway, on Speak for Yourself, I just remember starting to like, man, Cam, cut it out, man. All this dress up and stuff after the game, it's not going to work in an NFL locker room. And so whatever year, I think it's maybe after you won the MVP, that's when the change happened, because if I'm speculating from my distance, it's like, well, Cam's won the MVP. He's led a team to a Super Bowl. Cam thinks he's arrived. And so now Cam's going to unpack all of his plans and vision and got a bit more comfortable and said, now let me implement the rest of my plan.
So let me educate the audience on the time and tenure that you were referring to. Let's talk about Peter King. When I first came into the NFL, at that time, it was the biggest rookie deal of apparel at that time. I had signed to Under Armour. And the conversation came by way of making that announcement that I signed with Under Armour. It was at that time upwards of $1 million. And I was surprised, given that I was wondering why we didn't get opportunities like, said LeBron James, said Kevin Durant, said basketball players. But I learned that football players are considered masked athletes. Not a lot of people know exactly who they are if they take off their helmet. Now, you may say Tom Brady, that's a outlier. You say Odell Beckham, that's an outlier. You say Aaron Rodgers, Josh Allen, those are outliers. But for the majority of football players, you are not recognized outside of your number and, how you look. So when he asked me the question, what are you to think about this particular deal? And I responded, I don't just see myself as a football player. I see this deal being created because I possess a power of being not just a football player, but an entertainer and an icon. That subject matter was the subject of, and it caught fire, like Cam Newton sees himself as an entertainer and an icon, hence to the word, or to why we call Iconic Saga. And for us, it was to be able to, in that time, be able to control our narrative as athletes. And that was something that was taken out of context. Did I say it? Absolutely. But the question wasn't also inserted with the response. That's why the icon word kind of came. Now, second, when you start talking about the culture shift of Cam growing his hair, when Cam's, worrying about fashion, it was around 2015, around 2016, to your point. And here's the reason why. There were still times in my career that I was still labeled, you're still a black man in America. Hence, I'll give you a real example. We go to Nashville, Tennessee. A fan for the Tennessee Titans had took out a column to complain that Cam Newton is thrusting in front of fans with all I was just doing was celebrating. There was also a time, why is Cam celebrating enough or celebrating too much? Hence to why I did my celebration in front of the world for the Thanksgiving game that we played that same year in Jerry's World when we played the Cowboys. There are still examples of no matter what you are still labeled to some individuals this particular character. I understood that. And when I would have a conversation with said individuals, like I'm having a conversation with you, I'm not shameful to say I am proud to come from Atlanta, Georgia. When I go back to the communities where I'm from, I see way more people with dreadlocks than I see with fades, clean shavings, or whatever. So for me, nobody cares that I've given millions of dollars to the next generation of athletes. They don't care about that. They care about what Cam says when he's on First Take, when he's on 106 in Sports, when he's on 4th and 1, when he's on Funky Friday. But the visual is still important to when you start to see who's the voice behind what's being said, and is it relatable to the next generation? So it wasn't to be rebellious. It was always to stand for something, to say, bro, you don't got to go to the NFL to be able to talk sports. Hey, you don't got to go to the NBA to be a journalist. Hey, you don't even have to be good at baseball to cover the sport. You just have to have the willingness to study and know what you're talking about. And I've always stood on that principle, but there's times where athletes may have a response to something and they don't even realize the weight of their voice, the weight of their actions, and who they are really representing. And it is to say, there's been times where I've let people down. But I will not take that same route to say, tone it down. That's where I have to agree to disagree, to say, I can't do that. Because when I go to the corner stores, when I go to the barbershops, when I go to the grocery stores, when I go to so many different areas in Atlanta, Georgia, said places say, hey, bro, keep doing what you're doing. You're inspiring the next. Because when I grew up, I never had the opportunity to see a Mercedes-Benz with a person that was in that said Mercedes-Benz that did it the legal way. I give so much credit to Pac-Man Jones, because Pac-Man Jones was the first visual that I actually seen, could touch, could talk to, as a person that said, oh, that's a millionaire. My parents weren't millionaires. But when we have these illustrious platforms, it gets to a point where people oftentimes forget I'm still a product of my environment, and I'm trying to do right with it, because in a term of Game of Thrones that a lot of people can kind of understand this analogy, a Baratheon and a Targaryen and a Lannister and a Stark, there are different people from different areas. And I'm from where I'm from, and I never wanted to change up or to suppress, to tell my son, to tell a younger man or a woman to say, well, you got to change to be accepted. I can't agree with that. And that's where sometimes I feel people are saying Cam doing too much. It's like, no. You just don't understand me. And it's okay for you not to understand me. That's why I take opportunities like this to explain my true intent. I've always fell short of what the expectation is and was for Cam. I never wanted to be labeled as perfect. I've had children out of wedlock. I've shown people that it is human of me to be a sore loser. But you tell me a sore loser, I can show you a potential good winner, because winners don't know how to lose. And it means something to me. It has always meant something to me. When I was in these situations, I didn't have nobody to take me up under the wing and say, hey, dog, like, we're going to do this. No, you don't do it that way. This is how you do it. I had to learn for myself. So when I say certain things, or when I do certain things, I'm not saying that it's right, Jason. I'm not saying that you're wrong. What I'm saying is we'll be in a better situation in this whole universe if we're able to communicate with one another in the manner that we're doing it right now. Now, when I ask these type of questions, when you responded to the dynamic of saying being labeled an Uncle Tom or you're cooning, but can you see how people will feel? Because if we're keeping it above, Mr. Whitlock, the way that you critique the culture or black entertainers or black athletes or black, subjects, it's completely different than how you critique the Caucasian subject. When I hear you talk about Deion Sanders, when I hear you talk about Cam Newton, when I hear you talk about Joy Taylor, when I hear you talk about Stephen A. Smith, those subjects to me is like, all right, well, when you talk about John Elway, when you talk about Brett Favre, when you have conversations with Tucker Carlson, with Fox News and talking politics and things, it just doesn't give the same type of energy as the counter. Do you understand?
I understand what you're saying, but it's just not factually true. And it would be like, I've had access to watch the overwhelming majority of your NFL games and games at Auburn. You haven't had access to watch how I operate as a journalist. You see glimpses and pieces, but there's, you could go throughout my entire history as a journalist. Do you know who Marty Schottenheimer is or was? Carl Peterson was the general manager of the Kansas City Chiefs. I was based in Kansas City. That's where I made my name. Marty Schottenheimer and Carl Peterson and Scott Pioli and Todd Haley, who was the head coach at the Chiefs for a time, any of these guys. These are all white guys. They would all say, like, Cam, you're crazy, man. This dude killed me and killed us. And talked about, and again, there's receipts for all of this, but you didn't follow the Chiefs. You're not from Kansas City. The internet wasn't as pervasive. Even today, to what I do today, you're not interested. When I criticize a Bruce Pearl that I started my entire show with yesterday, goes completely over your head. But trust me, Bruce Pearl is completely aware that I trashed him all yesterday. Bill Belichick's got this little 25-year-old sugar baby. The only time your ears perk up, and this isn't an attack, is like, oh, Deion, because I like Deion and I see him, blah, blah, blah. All you care about is that I attack black people. But the facts are the facts. It's everywhere. Take my attacks on Stephen A. Smith, which have been brutal. Call Mike Lupica and see if he didn't get a taste of exactly what I do to Stephen A. Smith. It's comical. The accusation that somehow I don't criticize white people is comical, and it's not based in fact. It would be the same if I sat here and said Cam Newton ran a 5.2 40, you would laugh it off. You're like, what game was he watching? And when I hear people talking about Whitlock doesn't attack white people, it's like someone saying you ran a 5.2 40.
Yeah. So as we get into this discussion point, and I'm glad that you said what you said, because you are right. And when I have a discussion points, whether talking about 4th and 1 or prepping for 4th and 1 or even Funky Friday, is it that you are a prisoner of your voice? Because when you talk about said topics, like you said, it flies over people's heads. But let it be a person that you like or that you relate to. And when I say you, I'm referring to the viewer or the consumer of the content. Mm-hmm. It's now say, hold on. What did he say about D?
Listen a little closer.
What did he say about Kent? And I think oftentimes I feel the same way that you feel. And it's not to say that I'm changing or I need to change. It's that I don't have no picks. I don't have the same way I critique Josh Allen is the same way I critique Lamar Jackson. The same way I critique Brock Purdy is the same way I critique Justin Fields. The same way that I critique a Sam Darnold is the same way that I critique Russell Wilson. But the Jalen Hurts, oh man, Cam tripping. Hey. Oh man, Cam's take is like he's a hater. When I critique Bryce Young, it gets to a point where, like I mentioned, you're a prisoner with your own voice because your audience is expecting you. And that's my question. You've been doing this for so long. How do you control the narrative for you specifically, knowing that there is a separate narrative that another individual or individuals may have of you?
I can't control it. And so I just can't worry about it. I want to go back to where our potential disconnect is. And I don't mean that as hyper negative, but I'm approaching everything from my point of view, from a biblical Christian point of view. And so you were saying how you want to be relatable and how important that is. I have no interest in being relatable. I have an interest in being biblical. And I don't want to fit in because I'm not of this world. I'm just here momentarily. There's somewhere I want to get to eternally that makes me say, I have to be at odds with the world. And so when I say the world, I'm really saying the culture. And I listen to you and many others that are slaves to the culture. And really what you're being a slave to is the world. And my understanding of Jesus Christ and Christianity is that I'm supposed to be at odds with the world. And I am. And because the only person I'm trying to serve is Jesus Christ. And so when I wake up and, choose the clothes, what comes out of my mouth, I'm trying to please God. And I think most people in America are trying to please the world. And trust me, I know the benefits of pleasing the world because I used to do it. And
I'm sorry for interjecting, but I just want to say something while we're on this topic. I don't want there to be an intention to think what I mean. Like when I mean relatable, I just had a wholesome moment. Yeah, this past weekend, it happened on Sunday. I met my hero. It was Chris Lee, right? When I was growing up, there weren't a lot of black quarterbacks that went to Power 4, Power 5 at that time, universities that played as a freshman, that not just was black, but was a full-time quarterback that was used outside of their running ability. Chris Leak was the first individual that I saw that played as a freshman that was the real quarterback. And it wasn't platooning. It wasn't come out, do this. Another quarterback that empowered me was Vince Young. Another quarterback, Michael Vick. Another quarterback, contrary to what people may believe, Jamarcus Russell. Mm-hmm. All these are black quarterbacks that I seen myself into. So when I say relatable, it's not conforming to the world, or it's not to be liked by a specific individual. It's to be able to say, when my daughter sees Naomi Osaka, sees Coco Gauff, when she sees or hear about Serena Williams, it's not always to pray for certain things or to expect certain things. Sometimes they got a saying that says, seeing is believing. So if seeing is believing, if I can see myself in a journalist that looks like me, has some of the same things, that's what made Stuart Scott so legendary. Some of his similes and metaphors was something that was relatable to the culture. And it's not to say we wanted to be Stuart Scott, and you make a face, but those things is what hits home to us to say, yo, he's cool like the other side of the pillow. Mm-hmm. Booyah. Like when he says certain things, certain cultures aren't able to relate. Booyah. What is that?
Yeah.
Like
but he's speaking to our
speaking directly to it. So that's what I mean by relatable. It's like, yo, you don't have to cut your hair just to be on national TV.
But I want to chime in, and I know you got to say something, Jason. It's this, and where did this come from? This franchise QB stigma. I know you said earlier, it was like, franchise quarterbacks don't look that way or be this part. And I think this is this false narrative of a stigma that we have to look a certain type of way. It wasn't about leadership style. It wasn't about studying. It wasn't about play. It was about the representation, the look of what a quote unquote franchise QB should look like. And now in this day and age, as you see so many players look a certain type of way, they dress different type of ways. And I hate the narrative of that this QB or the face of a franchise have to look a certain type of way because it doesn't relate to people of our culture that might be the best for that position, but really like chime in on that, what you said in this narrative or this notion of this franchise quarterback this stigma that's not even a real thing. Like it shouldn't be a thing.
Tangible.
Yeah.
Well, I actually think it should be a thing, and it is a thing. And I think that if you look up a little bit higher, and I'm not saying look up to God in this instance, although you always should, but if you look at Michael Jordan as a blueprint, there's a reason why LeBron James has never challenged and never will challenge Michael Jordan's legendary status, his ability to sell shoes, his ability to be a pitchman, a spokesman. He's never going to approach Michael Jordan.
That's
Michael
opinion.
Jordan, that's a fact.
That's opinion.
Why so?
Air Jordan shoes in comparison to what LeBron, it's not even close.
For sure. Like that is a fact.
He's not gonna.
Now.
But
that's
it's
forever.
It's not going to get there.
Things can change. I understand that point of view too.
They ain't gonna change that much.
But why are you saying why won't he be Air Jordan?
Because he chose to tat himself up, and he had black agents when he first started out that told him, "Hey, don't do that, man. We're gonna follow the Michael Jordan blueprint. Don't do that." Aaron go look it up. They've talked about it on the record. They tried to LeBron, we ain't doing it. We're gonna do the Michael Jordan route. But he tried to tat himself up, and he wanted to be pleasing to the culture, and he wanted to be outspoken for the culture. Michael Jordan already laid the blueprint. If you want mass appeal, if you want to be iconic, if you want a legacy that lives on forever, if you want to build a brand that lives on forever, if you want to be the GOAT, there was a way to do it and a way to present yourself. Michael Jordan showed it to you. And the athletes have all rejected it and said, nope, I'm going the hip hop route. I'm going to follow the rappers. And trust me, that's what the culture is. Now, I'm 58. I was born in 1967. I've been here longer than y'all. I saw rap from the very beginning. I used to write for Vibe magazine. I understand this history a lot better than most. And again, the friends with rappers, all kinds of stories with rappers. I know who influenced and changed this culture and made athletes think, let me be a rapper. Let me present myself as a rapper and as a dope boy rather than as an athlete. And they all abandoned the Michael Jordan approach to dress up like little rappers. And it doesn't have the brand appeal. It doesn't go as far as Michael Jordan. Cam makes the point. Let me see if I can remember. And Peggy, I don't mind you jumping in, but I had something I definitely wanted to respond. Cam, can you refresh my memory on what your last point was? Because I definitely wanted to respond to it.
Just relatability. It was relatability, and the things that I do is to be relatable to people that see me and can see themselves in me.
Here was my point. And so I was a mediocre mid-major college football player that figured out, hey, I want to be a great sports journalist.
Okay.
And I looked at, there was an old white dude in Chicago named Mike Royko. He's one of the greatest newspaper writers ever in the 60s
his name
and
one more
70s.
time.
And Mike Royko, okay. Royko. He was the greatest. And so here I am, black mama, black daddy, black cousins, black friends.
As black as black could be.
You threw it
blackety black. Yeah. Masterpiece Lounge, Jimmy's J Bar J. These are the little ghetto nightclubs my father owned. All of family, friends, it's all black.
Yeah.
But I used to read this old white man in the Chicago Tribune. They'd pick it up in the Indianapolis paper. And I was like, man, I want to be like Mike Royko. But I want to do it in sports. He wasn't in sports. He was just this nationally syndicated great newspaper columnist. And I said, man, I want to do that. And Mike Royko inspired my entire sports writing career. And all these people that hate me, you can go check with all of them. None of them will deny the greatness of my career as a sports writer. It's legendary. And it was all based off of some old white dude that I never met that lived in Chicago. So if someone born in 1967 and in 1984, 1985 can say, hey, man, I want to be like Mike Royko and build a legendary sports writing career off of that. And now we get to the 2000s and black kids, unless it's someone black, we can't be inspired by it.
No, you can't.
We hustling backwards.
You can't say that.
We hustling backwards.
No, nobody said that.
If we can only take inspiration from people who allegedly look like us, and the truth is, none of the three of us look like each other.
Right.
It's a lie. We got similar skin tone color, but this whole thing, someone that looks like me. Well, Cam don't look like me. I don't look like Cam. And Peggy, you don't look like Cam. And you don't look like me.
But I gotta interject. We don't look like each other, but we have the same struggles. And that's what makes us relatable.
No, we don't, Cam. No, we don't. Cam.
But I would say
let me give you just a real example that we can all relate to.
Come on.
Me and Cam Newton walk into a nightclub.
No.
You think we got the same struggle?
You're using now.
You think we got the same struggle? Quit lying, Cam. We don't have the same struggle.
I'm saying growing up.
We have the same struggle in...
My parents were divorced. Cam's parents, I believe, were married. We didn't have the same struggle.
Okay.
I
You're looking
relate
at
to you.
specifics. I'll give you this. We have the same tradition on Thanksgiving, no? We have the same tradition when
I bet you your mama's dressing wasn't as good as my mama's dressing, but we can
compete with.
But the real thing is,
understand
how are we all viewed as black men?
Had the same struggle or experience with when we say barbershop talk.
No, hold on.
He's saying
We're
something.
all judged by the same people. Peggy, we have an audience of one. And if you don't have an audience of one, you can't relate to me. I don't care about you or any of these other people. I have an audience of one. And that's who I'm worried about, what that person thinks or what that God figure thinks of me.
For sure.
The rest of this is just noise.
Okay.
And so you have to get in that mentality in order to see through, like, who cares what some white person that has no power over me thinks?
So how did you come up with this stigma of this?
If your whole life is based off of worrying about what some random white person thinks, you're going to live a sad life.
Nobody said we care about what somebody thinks. It all started with relatability.
Yeah.
I want to go back to something real quick. When you said the brand appeal that Michael Jordan had, there's this thing that a lot of people get misinterpreted with what made Michael Jordan Michael Jordan. It wasn't how he looked. It wasn't his shoes. The only reason why we have polarizing figures or have immortalized Michael Jordan was because of what he did on a basketball court. Not a lot of people, nobody has ever done that. So it doesn't matter if you have tattoos. It doesn't matter if you have dreadlocks. It doesn't matter nothing. The key common denominator that sets Michael Jordan apart from nobody else outside of Tom Brady is that their resume is something that will probably never be touched. And that's what makes him so sellable or scalable to the platforms.
You're making my point.
The Gatorades, the Nikes.
You're making my
They see
point.
a sellable figure that it's a small chance that an average basketball player will reach his level of success. And it's not because of his shoes are selling.
I know a guy in football who could have been Michael Jordan.
Who?
Cam Newton.
Could have.
And Peggy, could have. And Peggy, did you watch him at Auburn?
Yeah,
Did you watch him carry a
team,
mediocre
That wasn't
football
even the same team the year before.
with no pros to the national championship? I saw a man that could have been Michael Jordan. But instead, and he could have done exactly what Cam's talking about. Cam could have won 6-7 Super Bowls, 3 or 4 MVPs, and could have had the resume that just said, would have made the dreads or whatever. I don't know what the hairstyle is called, the dreads, the outfits, all of that irrelevant. This man could have went out on that football field and been Superman for 15 straight years and won 3 or 4 or 5, 6 Super Bowls and MVPs. Mm-hmm. And he could have been Michael Jordan. And if I were Cam's agent, me and Cam would have been having knockdown, drag out fights, wrestling with each other like, I'm going to make you Michael Jordan. And Cam is sitting out there, no, I want to be 2 Chainz.
Never.
And I'm like,
never.
So you saying clothes and hair?
Y'all know I hate to use that word, but it's like, man, you can be Michael Jordan. Well, we not fooling around with this rap mess.
So clothes and hair dictate your success. That's what you're saying.
No.
Not the depth of your career. Not the depth of your career, not your work ethic, not who you truly are, but you saying your representation dictates.
You took your eye off the ball and got involved with, hey, I'm going to do it with fashion. I'm going to do it by appealing to the culture. I'm going to do this. All Cam had to do was win games.
What did that have to do with winning games, though? What's the correlation?
Okay, if you want to make this point, Jason, I feel that that's very hypocritical of you because you don't like fashion.
I'm not anti-fashion.
When I would see you on Speak for Yourself, you used to wear hats and you was drippy, as I would deem, right? You don't wear hats no more.
For a fat person, I was drippy.
But did it take away from your?
But listen, they call it more wavy than drippy when you're my size. But go ahead.
From what your voice was speaking. Do you understand what I'm saying? You wore hats, you wore suits, you wore certain things that you may deem, hey, I want to look nice. I want to look like I can present myself.
Distinct.
Correct.
Okay, distinct. Perfect.
Now, let me ask you this. This is why I say it's hypocritical.
Talk to me.
Well, you talked about sports, right? What gives you the right to talk about politics? Did you? You took your, so you can say you took your eyes off the prize. So it's like when it comes to athletes and you use this visual aesthetic, trying to compare visual aesthetic to on-field or on-court success or resume success, when we think about Jalen Hurts, you would say he's polished, right?
Yep.
Well,
he came with a big chain on.
But when Jalen Hurts was at Alabama, he did not have hair.
He had locks.
Okay. Why do we look at Jalen Hurts different than we look at Lamar Jackson?
Maybe his dialect, the way he speaks.
So this is, I'm trying to give you examples that what you're saying is not true. Would you say Matthew Stafford is a relatively good quarterback?
Yeah, I would say so.
Right? Well, why do we look at Matthew Stafford any different than we look at Trevor Lawrence? It doesn't matter how I put my hair. Nobody complains about Trevor Lawrence having long hair, but the God that we both serve, or Jesus Christ of Nazareth, had long hair, like wool.
What is it? That's what I'm saying.
So when you have this conversation, Jason, it's like, what are we saying? Is it dreadlocks or is it long hair?
Because Brady had long hair at one time.
Brady did have long hair.
What's the narrative?
When we start comparing the contrast,
and he was stylish.
Patrick Mahomes has tattoos.
If Matt Stafford was here, he'd slap the taste out of your mouth for comparing him to Trevor Lawrence for one. For one, it's a metaphor. I wasn't being serious.
Okay,
but he was just like, don't compare him to Trevor Lawrence. That's one. And two,
it's the visual though. I'm not comparing. I'm not comparing success. I'm comparing visuals.
And people trash Trevor Lawrence. And people have said his NFL career has been a disappointment up until this past season. And so let's don't act like Trevor Lawrence and the whole Beach Boy look hasn't been clowned, hasn't been criticized. It has. People think he's a little less serious, and they wonder if that's why he hasn't reached his full potential. As it relates to me and how I dress, just has he taken football as seriously as he should?
But why are we comparing a human being off of what his personal preference is?
Of what he puts on his body, not what he does with his body in the sport.
That's not fair.
Because, Cam, these cues are indicate, hey, look, it's my personal preference to overeat. People make assumptions. Hey, this dude's lazy. Hey, this guy. And I have to deal with that. There are certain ramifications. How we present ourselves. Whitlock's fat, he's lazy. I have to deal with that and prove to people, well, no, I'm not actually lazy, but I do like barbecue. I have to deal with that, and I can't whine and cry about it.
Do you show other sides of you that will make people think differently?
Think differently than what?
Like
you're lazy. The
laziness. Like
yeah, I think my work speaks for itself. You can't have the career that I had.
True.
And again, that I'll go to Speak for Yourself. Long before I was doing Speak for Yourself, I had laid it down as a newspaper writer for 2 decades.
Yeah.
I'd won the Super Bowls of sports writing. And then I transitioned into a TV career, and then where appearance and having a distinct appearance. But I would even say at some point, even before Speak for Yourself, you go back and look at me on Pardon the Interruption. That's when my dressing was out of control. That, I was being a distraction with the way that I was dressed. And some of it was intentional. And literally, it's just like I had to figure out nah, man, I want people to pay attention to what I have to say. Let me tone this down. I don't want people trying to figure out what's he wearing and what's that, blah, blah, blah. I want them actually focused on what I have to say. And that would be my critique of you, Cam, because what you have that most people do not have in this line of work is you're not scared. And most guys are scared. Inviting me on to have a conversation, most of these homosexuals in the media scared to death of me. You're not scared. And that will carry you far. And you have an interest in hearing what other people have to say. And I'm not trying to suck up to you because I say all this stuff when you're not around. And when I see clips of you that I enjoy, I share them and say it. This ain't me sucking up. And the other advantage you have is a father who I know poured some things into you, and because it comes out. It seems like to me you're fighting them, but they come out. I can see them. Your heart for young people, that's from your mother and father. Right. And so you're just wrestling with, same way I wrestled with my father. And used to live in a strip club and all of that. Just a bunch of stupid things that I used to do. But there's a chance for you in the media, the exact same opportunity that was there for you in football. You got a huge personality, huge sense of humor. You got a team of people that, man, they have figured you out and are working with you. The only thing I would just be asking you, hey, man, don't blow this one, because you can really be something in this media space.
I appreciate
with just a few adjustments. You could really be something powerful. And without sacrificing who you are,
right?
You can still, and trust me, your mom and daddy, the version of you that I'm begging to come out, your mom and daddy would love it.
Now, the version of me, does it require me cutting my hair?
Probably, just so we can get you to take the hats off and just mix it up a few times. Just give us just conservative. Man, you got a huge smile. You like to laugh. Your level of transparency is going to go up as you get older.
Yeah.
And so you'll have a lot of lessons. You'll have a testimony. It's like you'll figure out some of these things I've done are wrong and I don't want other young people to do them. So let me tell y'all the mistakes I made so y'all don't make them.
I'll say this.
Go ahead.
I'll say this. Yep. Even though I want to agree, this is another one. We're going to have to agree to disagree. Mm-hmm. A specific individual that has been on TV for decades on decades on decades. He was a gang member. It's known that he smokes the devil's grass.
The devil's lettuce.
The devil's lettuce. And some way, somehow, Snoop Doggy Dogg is still in America's living rooms.
Yeah.
He's the face
of...
The
world loves him.
the Winter Olympics.
Yep.
He takes the show like he's authentically himself.
Yeah.
So my mantra that I live by is to be uniquely you, whatever that may be to you. Yeah. Now, we're living in a day and age where we speak out and we support people to have individualism, whether that's your sexuality, whether that's who you like, who you identify with, who you believe you are,
how you dress,
how you
grow your hair.
We support
whatever.
it.
Yeah.
So for me, I'm saying I'm not trying to be rebellious by no means. I'm just being me. If you see me tomorrow, I'm still gonna dress with a hat, glasses, and something that you're gonna be like, man, what in the world? What old boy got on? Yeah. But if you give me an opportunity to explain the outfit, it may make sense to you, or it may not make sense. Yeah. I'm cool either way. But before I tell a person you have to conform to something to be taken serious, it's not always the message. Because when I look at Patrick Mahomes got tattoos, don't he? He does.
Right? Arms, yeah.
He has
on his legs, I think.
Yeah. A tattoo is a tattoo, Mr. Jason.
I got it. I got it.
He has a funky haircut, don't he?
Yeah, it's not a fade.
It's been a mohawk for years.
Curls.
Now, when you talk about Tom Brady got multiple baby mamas, don't he?
That is true.
Now, if we want to keep it a buck, the greatest quarterback went through public embarrassment with divorce. So we talk about certain it don't deter certain individuals from still being ridiculed. That's not to say that they didn't go through certain things. And I'm not the person to say that my situation is any different. We all have our different journeys to get to where we deem the top is or what our goals are. It's just always a point that certain people require certain emotions that it's like, well, it's different. It's Cam. We don't take Cam serious. But it's like, well, you're explaining Ryan Clark to me. Ryan Clark is extremely great at what he does.
Yeah.
It's so much so that I had to really work with Ryan to really see, like, oh, no, he a dog. Mm-hmm. Like, he knows his football. Matter of fact, without me working with Dan Orlovsky and starting to see, like, oh, man, he got some valid points. Now, just like this type of dynamic, I don't have to agree with everything that you're saying. But the points that you are making, it is backed by your logic. May not be my logic, but it's at the end of the day, the worst that we can do is be able to agree to disagree. I want to move the conversation on before you got to go.
Yeah.
Is there ever an athlete that you misjudged early in their career that you was wrong about?
Yeah. I'm going to give you the answer that you're not going to like the answer.
Okay.
Colin Kaepernick, when he first started out, I thought, and I wrote it, I said it, I was right there with Ron Jaworski, like, this guy's going to be the greatest quarterback since John Elway. He's going to be unbelievable. And clearly, I was wrong about that. To give you an answer that perhaps would fit, perhaps what maybe you were more expecting, I would say it this way. The athlete who I've changed my opinion about the most is Michael Vick. Mm-hmm. When Michael Vick was in Atlanta, I was critical of like, hey, man, this dude's out here winging it. He's not prepared. He's relying on his athleticism and, seems to be playing video games and smoking weed. It's not going to be, this isn't going to have a good ending or landing.
No.
Now, on the other side of Michael Vick getting sent down and put away for a little bit, Michael Vick's one of my favorite human beings on the planet. Love Michael Vick post the dog situation and all of that.
Yeah.
I will defend Michael Vick to the ends of the earth. When the man came out of jail and people were saying he didn't deserve a second chance and how dare Andy Reid and Philly, I was like, man, are you nuts? This man done served his time. And, of course, he deserves this opportunity. Love that he's gone into coaching. I think Michael Vick meets your relatability standards very, very well for that community that he's serving in Newport News. And he's not doing it with long hair. He's doing it with testimony about what he's learned from the mistakes he's made, and he's pouring back into his community. You know, I'm ride or die with Michael Vick when I was a huge critic of Michael Vick.
That's solid. That's solid. So in another trajectory, do you think, what is one athlete that media protects?
Lamar Jackson. And I like Lamar Jackson.
Protect?
They protect Lamar Jackson?
Yes.
They don't, because it's a two-part. It's one athlete that media protects, and then one athlete that media unfairly attacks. So you said they protect Lamar. Why?
They protect Lamar. Just go back to draft day when, you know, he was one of the most unique quarterback prospects we've ever seen, and people didn't know what to do with him. He's represented by his mother, which is a unique situation. And so teams are like, man, I don't know. I ain't going to pull the trigger on this. Too many variables. You know, he's not a great communicator. His mother is his agent. He plays a unique style. We'd have to change our whole system. And the media just melted down like they couldn't understand why he fell to the bottom of the first round. And now, you know, anything Lamar does, there's always an excuse. If he plays poorly in the postseason, there's always an excuse. Yes, there is a protection racket around Lamar Jackson. And I actually like Lamar Jackson, root for Lamar Jackson, thinks he's someone that doesn't make excuses, doesn't see himself as a victim, but he's protected. Is there someone that's I just thought of this answer in real time. Who the media goes at? Brett Favre. And I know that's going to make people's heads explode. But the attacks on Brett Favre and the what about Brett Favre, all this garbage, it's a joke.
So you feel like it's unfair that the media goes at them?
You can't steal tax dollars from politicians and have them spend it on a university that the state owns. It's the whole narrative about, oh, Brett Favre stole Mississippi taxpayer money. No, politicians stole that money, and we're going to do with it whatever they want to do because that's the tradition of American politics. Politicians steal the money and then spend it and blow it on whatever they want. Brett Favre was begging some politicians in Mississippi, hey, spend this money on my alma mater. I want a volleyball facility. My daughter plays volleyball there. He ain't stole nothing. It's all been exaggerated. It's a joke. So, and that's, you know, hey, Brett Favre would be the guy.
So let me ask you this. You give more blame to Lamar Jackson than you give to Josh Allen?
More blame to Lamar Jackson than I do Josh Allen. No. Josh Allen just made a fool of himself in that last playoff game. He blew the game. Trying to run the ball at the end of the first half and fumble it cost them a playoff game. Josh Allen takes way too many risks. He's undisciplined. And so, no, I would probably give equal amounts while recognizing that both of them are incredible players. But no, I don't give more blame to one or the other. You know, today I would give more blame to Josh Allen based off what I just saw in that last game. It's one of the dumbest plays in NFL history from an experienced quarterback.
My next question is kind of going back to what you just said, and there's a commonality in sports now where we have athletes, former athletes, getting into media and media personalities kind of weaning off or still fighting for relevancy. The question, or it posed a question when you were talking about the legitimacy of Stephen A. Smith and him shooting 17 straight three-pointers, why he was awarded a scholarship at Winston-Salem State. Whether he did or he didn't, my question is, do you have to be a former athlete to be taken serious in covering the actual sport?
No.
So,
not at all.
what is your thoughts on athletes getting into media?
Most are very unqualified, and it's gone way too far in terms of it's running journalists out. And now it's driven by emotion and people guessing what journalism is. And, you know, there are some that do a great job. I'll shock you with this take. It's like, I think Shannon Sharp is an amazing media talent.
Yes, sir.
And when he, you know, I didn't like what he did at FS1 with the whole ghetto shtick, but the stuff he does with Nightcap, that's a great show. Him and Chad Ochocinco have marvelous chemistry. It's a fun show. They're not presenting themselves as expert journalists. They're presenting themselves as two jocks that like to watch sports, like to talk about life in sports, make each other laugh. Fantastic show. And Shannon takes it, you know, very, very seriously. And so hats off to him. But a lot of the, you know, you guys are fans of Ryan Clark. I'm not. He too much of his shtick is based on race, and it's based on uninformed, unbiblical takes on race, and, you know, who he's friends with, what quarterbacks he likes. Is he tied in with this agent or that agent? And so, you know, but we've gone too far with, this is an old school comment that Howard Cosell used to say, called the jockocracy, that's what we've built. And, you know, there's a sweet spot where journalists and athletes work together and you get a full picture of what's going on in sports. Now the athletes are more dominant and we're not getting a full picture of what's going on in sports. We're getting a jock's take on what's going on in sports.
So to sum all that up, do you agree with this take? Sports journalism is more about narratives than the truth now?
Yes, although I will add this, and I didn't used to think this, but it's been about narrative for a long time. It used to be more tolerant of truth. Back in my younger days, previous, 15 years ago, it was far more tolerant of truth. I'll go all the way back to take it out of even the sports world, just the media. A guy like Mike Royko, who won all these awards and was in every newspaper basically in America, he couldn't even exist in this environment we have today because it's so hostile to uncomfortable truth. And so, it's always had a narrative bent. Now it's just completely out of control and it's unchecked by the truth.
So before we get out of here, we want to do a quick response, one sentence answer.
Rapid fire.
Rapid fire. You ready?
You take one, I'll take another.
Yeah.
Yes, sir. The best quarterback in the NFL right now, who you got?
It's still Patrick Mahomes. And yeah, it's still Patrick Mahomes with, Josh Allen and Lamar Jackson fighting for number 2.
All right. Most overrated sports personality right now.
I've already answered that question. No reason to reiterate. Stephen A.
I'll be remiss if I didn't ask this question straight up, and you can do with it how you deem. What is it between you and Stephen A. Smith?
Look, and I got to be respectful. You work with Stephen A. And so
this has
I don't want to go.
Listen. Look, you said you gonna keep it in a buck. Mr. Whitlock.
1,000.
Keep it 1,000 now. At the end of the day, I'm cordial with Stephen A. Smith just like I'm cordial with anybody else. It shouldn't come with a filter preface with it. And it's not to say that I'm about to sit there, hey, I got you. No, it's just a simple question.
Your word's your statement.
What is it up with
man,
you and Stephen A?
I've done the homework on Stephen A. He's fraudulent. He's lying about his college basketball career. He's admitted he's lying about his college basketball career. If I sat in the media space for 20 years telling everybody, I played for Big House Games and I got a full ride scholarship after knocking down 17 straight three-pointers in a scrimmage on a Sunday when they played a game on Saturday and they hosted a scrimmage on Sunday and I knocked down 17 straight three-pointers and they gave me a scholarship on the spot. Anybody familiar with HBCUs? Anybody familiar with Winston-Salem State and how little money Winston-Salem State has and had back then? They're not giving out scholarships on the spot to anybody. It's all a lie. And I've done the homework. And he runs around with these former teammates. There's some dude named Gary Stevens that, if you go back and look at the newspaper articles like I did, Gary Stevens was some 6'3" guard. The Gary Stevens that Stephen A. runs around with is some 5'9" midget who played basketball up in New York for some school called Old Westbury. They're running around taking flights and posting Instagram photos. Yeah, we're Winston-Salem State teammates. It's all a lie. It's fraudulent. Everybody has seen someone like Stephen A. Smith who in 4th grade, by his own admission, got held back because they thought he was retarded. When he was in 11th grade, his counselor laughed at the thought of him going to college. And again, someone like me that's a journalist that we're the same age. We came up together. Mm-hmm. I know how fraudulent he was as a sports writer and how they had to rewrite everything that he did. And to see him passed off as the face of sports journalism and the top of the profession. Cat Williams already done told you what that was about. They all get installed. Bob Iger and the $20 million a year that they give this guy to be a puppet and the standard for sports journalism. It's a joke. And I know I know it factually. He knows it factually. So none of his teammates, his alleged teammates, they won't talk on the record because I've tried to interview virtually all of them. Mm-hmm. They won't address it. Winston State, what was Mama Roseboro that he had on TV pretending like she was his college professor? She was some sort of secretary in the president's office. I could go on and on and on. He's doesn't know sports, doesn't follow sports. You're at the NBA Finals playing solitaire. NBA Finals. That would be, if you caught me at a strip club playing solitaire, you would think I was gay and didn't like women. If I catch you at an NBA Finals playing solitaire, I think you're gay and don't like basketball.
How is he gay? Because he's one.
Because we're like, God.
Like, come on, bro. Come on, bro. You push it. Come on.
So
I got
you think Stephen
That's your takeaway from what I just said. Your takeaway is you think I didn't say
I understand what you're saying.
He was gay. I just said, he got 2 kids. I'm not saying that, but he don't like sports. He's playing solitaire at the NBA Final. I know y'all collect a check with him, and I know the idolatry issues, and we have this whole thing because someone has a bunch of money, we think they're smart or we think there's someone worthy of respect. Having a bunch of money don't mean anything in a world this corrupt.
I think
it tends to indicate that you're willing to be corrupt, you're willing to be compromised.
So I'll say this, right? As long as Bob Iger, Disney is giving me the opportunity to expand my platform, I don't feel a way like you feel. They've been unbelievable to me.
Don't ask me. Ask Cat Williams. Cat Williams is the one that told you how this game operates. Blame Cat Williams. He told you how to get installed. And a lot of it has to do with bending over. Period. End of story.
I can. That's aggressive.
Yeah.
That's very aggressive.
You asked, Cam. I sat here and
That is your take. That's true.
You're right.
That is true.
Right.
That's your opinion.
You're right.
That is your opinion.
You are absolutely right, Mr. Whitlock. Who am I to tell you you're wrong or right? But with working with Stephen A. Smith, right, and I see how people attack him, I think he is the peak of the spear in sports journalism, whether we want to agree with it or not. How he got there is his story to tell. I'm not sitting up here insinuating that there was any type of illegitimacy to him just working hard, paying his time to be.
You think he made 17 straight threes?
I don't know if he did.
But what does that have to do with his sports takes?
Going back to the tattoos.
It has a lot to do when your whole persona is based off of, hey, I was a former college basketball player. That's why I know the NBA, blah, blah, blah. He's built an entire brand around being a basketball guru because I played at Winston-Salem State under Big House Gaines. Trust me, if you found out I never played football at Ball State, it would undermine my credibility because that has been part of my brand.
Yes, sir.
I understand that. No, that was my main thing about it. Is like, even where he is now, do you discredit all of the success? Like you said, man, I did 20 years writing and building my career to be where I am now. And my biggest thing is too, is like, as you talk about Stephen A., you once was in that space, right? On mainstream media. Like, what was your turn and your change for you not to be in it as of right now? Because let me slow down. A day and a time in a life, you were that. You were, I guess, on the rise to try to be a face of a brand on mainstream media. So as you talk about Stephen A., that was my head scratcher, is like, what's your change of events? What's your change of heart now?
What transpired was my faith walk went from 0 to 180. That I got humbled in 2013, 14, parts of 15, the second time I went back to ESPN and got under attack by the Alphabet Mafia. The LGBTQIA plus BLM Alphabet Mafia attacked me. They attacked me, and it humbled me, and it made me think, I got to get right with God. And if I can't be somewhere where I can talk about God while talking about sports, while talking about anything, I need to start my own deal where I can talk about things that are not supposed to be talked about. The fact that the world caters to the Alphabet Mafia is something that I wanted to be able to talk about. You can't do it on ESPN or Fox Sports. That's a no-no because they have to answer to the Alphabet Mafia. I don't want to answer to the Alphabet Mafia. And so I have decided that I've made enough money that I want to start my own thing. And if I never get any richer, and even if I get poor, I don't care.
Okay, most underrated sports personality.
Underrated sports media personality. Man, that's a tough one. Because again, the guys that I enjoy, I'll answer it this way. Cam, you got the most upside. It's just whether you're gonna figure it out. So that's it.
All right. One sports take that you'll bet your career on.
Sports take that I'll bet my career on.
Correct.
John Elway is the greatest football player of all time.
Now, the 1A on that is, do you think that John Elway is the best former athlete, best sports executive of all time?
No, Ozzie Newsome is.
Okay.
I would, off the top of my head, and I don't, Jerry West maybe in basketball. But
You got John
Ozzie
Lynch,
Newsome is Ozzie Newsome.
Magic.
Not Magic. Magic's my second favorite athlete of all time. Magic used to date my sister when I was a little kid. Love Magic.
Well, there you have it.
That used to be a hell of a flex until about, 91, 92?
Oh, yeah. Man, last thing, man. Real rapid fire, man. Last thing. 3 words to describe Jason Whitlock.
3 words to describe Jason Whitlock. Fat, Christian, that'd be number 1. Outspoken.
Say less.
There we have it.
Well, there you have it. Mr. Jason Whitlock, man, it's been a pleasure, bro. Appreciate you and trusting us and coming on our platform, bro.
Yes, for sure.
Since I was using Game of Thrones analogy, I would like to label myself a Lannister. And as long as I owe you, I do repay debt. So whenever you want me on your platform, bro, let's lock it in. I'm looking forward to it. Appreciate you once again for coming on 4th and 1, dog.
Let me ask you this. Would you ever come to Nashville?
I've been to Nashville numerous times. Matter of fact, my brother went to Tennessee State University.
Oh, awesome. Awesome. Maybe I can get you and Peggy to come to Nashville and we could do the show. We could do a show from here.
Absolutely.
That sound like a plan.
Looking forward to it. Just send your jet. We'll be good.
We'll fly you first class from Atlanta. That's a short flight.
Yeah.
Listen, looking forward to it, bro.
Thank you.
Thank you again.
Thank you.
Woo! Peggy?
Oh,
That's what you asked for, ain't it?
I know, man.
So real quick,
What's up?
and I know we got to end things here, but initial thoughts about the interview with Jason.
Mind blowing in some ways, but I do think some stuff is dated. I think it's a way of the new representation of what a quarterback or an icon. I think that's different nowadays.
Yeah.
And one thing I do respect about him is his opinion on that. But I do think it has been growth since the days of Michael Jordan. The icon nowadays look a lot different. So
Well, there's some truth that he
there is some truth now.
In no way, shape, form do I want to render the platform that we have created to alter a person's beliefs.
Facts. Definitely strong.
I
on this
think
belief.
we need to get back to allowing conversation.
Yeah.
Get back to, allowing people to debate.
Yeah.
And at minimal, we can agree to disagree.
For sure.
There were some things that Jason said and mentioned that I don't agree with.
Yeah, same here.
But that's his opinion.
Some things he said I do agree with.
Bob Iger, Stephen A. Smith, Disney has given me an opportunity. Everybody knows that.
Mm-hmm.
But for me to say, no, don't say that about Stephen A. Like, Stephen A. will tell you, hey, bro, how I feel about Jason Whitlock. Him coming on this platform now made me respect him even more. Mm-hmm. I've always had respect for, Jason Whitlock. But for him to stand on business is something where he knows he's controversial. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? He knows what people say about him, but that still doesn't alter. I can relate to that. Mm-hmm. And, above all, we should always have the opportunity to be able to chat, especially amongst, members of the media, because everything that I say, I don't expect a lot of people to agree with.
Yeah, for sure.
I have a newfound respect for Ryan Clark. I have a newfound respect for Stephen A. Smith or Dan Orlovsky because I've been able to work with them on a day-to-day basis.
Correct.
I started with ESPN and I seen Molly Karam. And then all of a sudden you start to, have opportunities to talk to the L. Duncans and the Shays of the world. And you have so many different personalities. And it's just like, this experience is cool.
Yeah.
So I'm not expecting everybody to have my experience.
No.
But you can't shift another person's thought process just because of your own process.
But that's how you change the world, by allowing people to express themselves and really listening You know, we might hear people talk, but we don't listen. And even though you don't agree, you don't have to agree. But at least I know where you stand.
Yeah.
And I respect where you stand.
And you said something. Listening to understand and not just listening to respond. That's very key.
Yeah.
So once again, man, shout out to Jason Whitlock and his platform, man. And I know he's very polarizing, especially to what he may deem as what is the culture.
Yeah.
But, you know, it's cool.
Yeah.
Is that it, Peggy?
That's it, boo.
I said, is that it, Peggy?
That's it, boo.
We're going to add a finger then. Okay. Gonna add a pinky then. Okay. Gonna add a pinky then. Whoa. Hey, gonna add a finger then.
Hey.
Yeah. I said the finger. I said the pinky. Can't forget the thumb. All together, one love. You did.
And that's our wrap.